Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughan Manor, where Roger and I have returned for presents. I have some presents to show you because recently it was my birthday and I turned 55 years old, Roger. That's nothing to Roger. He's 10,055 years old. But, kind of a big deal for me. So, yeah, I had a birthday, got some presents. And I thought I would show them to you, the things that I got, because they're all, of course, books. They're all books, of course. And I have one present here that I have not unwrapped yet. So everything else I unwrapped already. But not this one thing. So I will save that to the end. So what did I get for books for my birthday? Let's find out. So my mother-in-law, the mother-in-law of the manor, got me a really, really cool thing. In fact, it's completely awesome. I did not have this. And so this is Weird Tales. 32 Unearthed Terrors. A story from each year the classic horror and fantasy magazine was published, which is kind of amazing. So this is a hardcover collection that came out years ago. When did this come out? I don't even know. Let me find out. So it has an introduction by Robert Bloch, which is cool. So 1988, so a while ago. This came out a while ago, but it's in perfect shape. And my mother-in-law found this on the internet, Roger. So yeah, my mother-in-law found this probably on eBay, and I am thrilled because it's fantastic. Of course, full of great stories. So this has a story from every year. So it starts in 1923 with A Square of Canvas from Anthony M. Rudd. And it goes all the way to 1954, Call Not Their Name by Everett Worrell. And in between, there's all kinds of cool stuff. All the classic Weird Tales writers have stories in here. The very difficult to pronounce Nixon Dialis has a story in here. When the Green Star Waned. This has The Loved Dead by C.M. Eddy, which was really mostly written by H.P. Lovecraft, from what I understand, and caused all kinds of trouble because of its content. It was quite the scandalous story, Roger. We have Evolution Island by Edmund Hamilton in here for 1927. H. Warner Munn is in here with The Chain for 1928. And of course, for 1929, it could only be The Shadow Kingdom by Robert E. Howard, Roger. So that's fantastic. Seabury Quinn is in here, of course, with Satan's Stepson, with Jules de Grandon. We got The Shut Room by Henry S. Whitehead. The Isle of the Torturers by Clark Ashton Smith. C.L. Moore is in here with Dust of the Gods. Everybody's in here. And Robert Bloch did the introduction, but he also has a story called Black Barter in here. This does have the case of Charles Dexter Ward by H.P. Lovecraft. But from what I remember, that story was severely edited when it appeared in Weird Tales magazine. So I assume that this has the severely edited version, which should be interesting in itself because I've never read that cut up, chopped up version of the story. And it has the original Weird Tales magazine illustrations at the head of each story, which is really, really cool. And so there's Charles Dexter Ward. And so this was published after H.P. Lovecraft had passed away in 1941. But yeah, all kinds of cool stuff in here. So yeah, so I was very happy to get this. And this is a perfect choice, I think, for Horror Mayhem this year. So yeah, the Horror Mayhem. That's perfect for that. I also got a better copy of The Works of Haggard. One of my viewers sent this in. So this is from Black's Readers Service Company. I have a whole bunch of these books. These books were available as part of a subscription service. From what I remember, every month you'd get a new volume of Works. You'd have like 4 or 5 books by one particular author in one little compact volume with double columns. And so this is the works of H. Rider Haggard. And this has Cleopatra, it's got She, King Solomon's Mines, and Alan Quartermain. So it's a fantastic volume. And I did have this already, but this is a much nicer copy. The one I had was falling apart. So I was pretty happy to get this. So I got that. That's pretty awesome. This is an interesting thing, this next thing that I got from another viewer. I had heard about these stories forever, but I've never read one. And I've actually never seen an actual book, a paperback books anyway, of this particular character. And this is a box set of Solar Pons by August Derleth, which has, I don't think these are all the stories. I think he wrote some stories that aren't in here. But this has a lot of them, at least. Might be all of them. What the hell do I know? Anyway, this is August Derleth's Solar Pons, which was his Sherlock Holmes pastiche character. Sherlock Holmes actually existed in the world that Solar Pons lived, but Solar Pons, I believe, was a character exactly like Sherlock Holmes, who had his own Watson, but was working in the 1920s and the 1930s, from what I remember. And so I'll take out the books and we'll take a look at the covers. This is the first one, Regarding Sherlock Holmes by August Derleth. That's pretty cool. Then we have the second volume, which is The Adventures of Solar Pons. And the title of the series is The Chronicles of Solar Pons, apparently, by August Derleth. August Derleth, of course, one of the founders of one of the founders of Arkham House, which published H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard and Clark Ashton Smith and all those guys in hardcover. So there's that. Here's the third volume, The Memoirs of Solar Pons. The Memoirs. Vincent Starlett on the back says this is the best substitute for Sherlock Holmes known. It's the best substitute. And then we have the Casebook of Solar Pons. Then we have The Reminiscences of Solar Pons by August Derleth. That's pretty cool. And the final volume is The Return of Solar Pons. I don't know where he went, but here he is returning. And like I said, apparently, from what I heard, these stories take place in the 1920s and the 1930s. So they're a little out of date in their fashions on the covers of these. But that's if I'm remembering correctly. I could be remembering wrong. Like I said, I've never actually had the opportunity to read these stories. And now I do. Now I have the chance. So I might start reading some of these soon. I've been waiting for an excuse, actually, to reread Sherlock Holmes. So I'll probably reread Sherlock Holmes again before I get to these. But I will get to these because it's pretty cool to have a whole box set of Solar Pons. That's kind of an awesome present, actually. That's amazing. So yeah, box set of Solar Pons. That's really cool. By August Derleth. So I got that. And I got a comic book thing, Roger, from my friend Lise. She sent me Shiver as you read. Shiver as you read. This is from the Atlas Comics Library, which is published by Fantagraphics. So Atlas Comics was Marvel Comics before it became Marvel Comics. And they published like a billion comic books, which are very hard to find now. But this series from Fantagraphics is reprinting a bunch of those old comics. And this is volume 6, Shiver as you read, which from what I can tell just has a bunch of random horror comics from the 1950s. And, you know, I love this stuff. This stuff is great. And this is a very well printed volume, I have to say. It has some nice matte paper on it. There's Amazing Detective. And it's just really, really beautiful. It's a really beautiful volume. The comics just look... the comics look fantastic. I love all this old Atlas stuff, of course. You know how I am. I love the old horror stuff. So yeah, I was pretty happy to get this. I will be. I'm kind of excited to read this actually. A Thief. So this is cool. Shiver as you read. Shiver as you read. And now, finally, we will get to this present, which is still wrapped, which I have not unwrapped yet. So that'll be cool. I have a note that came with this because this came from my friend Mark, otherwise known as the International Man of Mystery. What does the International Man of Mystery have to say in this note? Michael, I couldn't think of what to get for your birthday. Then, as I thought of your age, it came to me, dinosaurs. I have no idea what he means by that, Roger. Also included are one or two additional items, one being a book that was published in your birth year. Wow, way back then, Roger. Cheers to you on your birthday. I'm glad you never act your age. It's true. And may you have many, many more birthday celebrations to come. Your good friend, Mark, the International Man of Mystery. So that's very nice, Roger. That's very nice. Let's open the present. This came in the mail, and the postman already sort of partially unwrapped it. He gave it a start. So let's open it up. Let's open it up. What's in here? Okay. All right. So this one is protected by cardboard. Let's see what's in here. Ooh, look at this. It's The Lost World. Look at this beautiful copy of The Lost World. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, illustrations by Harry Roundtree. Look at that. That is gorgeous. That's beautiful. Wow, look at that. I've never seen this edition. I have never seen this. This is really nice. Kala editions. That is really cool. So this is, of course, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Lost World adventure with Professor Challenger. This is gorgeous. Look at that. That's incredible. This was not published in my birth year, by the way, Roger. I'm not quite that old yet. Yeah, this is fantastic. Wow. The Lost World. That'll give me an excuse to read this again. That was a good book. What else do I have in here? Okay, here's another book. Let's see what this is. Night Force by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, the complete collection. You know, I've never read Night Force, but I've been hearing about this like forever. People have asked me a few times whether I've read Night Force by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, and I'm like, no, I haven't. But now I can. This is nice. This is a nice hardcover edition of this. How hard was this to find, Roger? I don't know, but it's Night Force. Wow, I look forward to reading that. That's cool. Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, of course, the writer-artist team who brought us Tomb of Dracula. So that's cool. That's really cool, actually. And there's still more stuff in here. What do we have? We have a Classics Illustrated edition of King Solomon's Mines. Classics Illustrated, featuring stories by the world's greatest authors. These were awesome, and I used to see a lot more of these around when I was young. But that's a great cover, actually. That elephant, frankly, has a right to be pissed, because, you know, Alan Quartermain and his pals were like shooting elephants for no good reason. So yeah, you got to kind of root for the elephant here. But King Solomon's Mines. I just read this book, so it'll be interesting to read the Classics Illustrated version of it. I will read this, and I will give you my reading report of this when I do it this next week. There are still a few more items. Let's see what else we have. Oh my goodness, we have The Land That Time Forgot by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which is cool because I collect Edgar Rice Burroughs books. This is not my only copy of The Land That Time Forgot, but it is the only copy I have with this cover, which is the original cover. from the first edition of the book. So that's fantastic. Wow. Really nice. Great. This is actually one of my favorite Edgar Rice Burroughs books. So that's really cool. Two more things. We have Hell Creek. We have Hell Creek by L.M. Graziano and M.S.A. Graziano. 65 million years in the past, the journey begins. So Hell Creek sounds like it has something to do with dinosaurs. That's pretty cool. And it looks like we've got an official Hell Creek bookmark there. That's cool. Okay, I'll read Hell Creek. I might read Hell Creek soon. Why the heck not? Oh, and it's signed. That's pretty cool. Okay, Hell Creek. I got that. That wasn't published in my birth year either. But this might have been. Ooh, more August or left. More August or left. I'm going to take this out of this. It's in a nice little bag here, but look at that. That's The Trail of Cthulhu by August Derleth. So it's August Derleth's Cthulhu Mythos stories. Human vengeance pursues the terror from beyond time, a novel of horror based on the work of H.P. Lovecraft. So it's, this is one of the things that August Derleth is known for, which is his Cthulhu Mythos stories. That and Solar Pons. So I got a lot of Derleth for this birthday. That's really cool. That is not August Derleth, of course. That is H.P. Lovecraft on the back. This cover is particularly great. That is just fantastic. This will be interesting. This will be an interesting thing to read, because I've never read The Trail of Cthulhu. It's a Beagle Boxer. It's a Beagle Boxer horror novel. That's pretty cool. And this one was published in my birth year of 1971. So that's really awesome. Thank you, International Man of Mystery, and everybody else who sent me these cool presents. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'll shut up now, Roger. I will shut up. I will catch you next time.